That's my gimmick time for another fragrance review, or not actually a fragrance review. I'm gonna do another one of those believe the hype or don't believe the hype kind of videos, which is basically just me giving my opinion on other people's opinion. So part two, let me get to some fragrances that have been hyped at one point or another, or whatever. I'll give my comment on them. The first one, LIDGE, Le Instant de Guerlain, oh, de Extreme, whatever. I feel like when I was getting into fragrances, this was a fragrance that was on YouTube a lot, getting talked about. Um, I'm gonna be honest, I've always thought it just smells kind of old. I still have a little decant of it somewhere, and I can also say, strangely enough, it's also one of the only decants I've ever had that has actually turned on me. I don't know if it was stored badly. I stored it just like anything else, but I'm gonna be honest, I never got the hype for it. I've always thought that it kind of smells old. Kind of reminds me of something I just would imagine going to a church and a grandpa wearing for some reason. I don't know. I should probably try to find my decant of it again and give it another shot because it's been quite a few years. But for what it's worth, I've never gotten it. It's just been totally lost on me. Let's do another one. Let's do a Creed one. Green Irish Tweed. What should I say about Green Irish Tweed? It's like probably one of the most famous fragrances ever, right? You know, I think if you were rich, I think it's worth the hype. And I know it's going to sound crazy because I've done reviews of this before, and I don't think it's that amazing, but I do wear it sometimes that I have it. And honestly, okay, say something like I know I give Millicent Imperial a lot of shit, because I think that smells good, but again, worth the hype? No, I don't think it is. But Green Irish Tweed. Say that 5 times fast. When you can barely speak English. Green Irish Tweed. Um, it's grown on me over the years, just in terms that, you know what, in terms of just a dumb reach, I think it's actually really awesome. So I think if you are a rich person and you need a dumb reach, Green Irish Tweed is freaking amazing, actually, because it has grown on me in that sense. If I just want something that's like, man, I smell good. I don't need to think about anything. Green Irish Tweed. For a regular person, I don't think it's worth it. But in terms of rich people, I can say it's worth it, I guess, right? Does that count as that's my perspective on the hype for that one. Let's do 1821 Sweet Tobacco Spirits. Is that what it's called? I wrote it down here, right? Sweet Tobacco Spirits. This was getting a lot of hype for a while. I think this fragrance is actually pretty interesting, even though it's not something I wear very often. I think the honey in it, I don't think it's redundant to other honey tobacco fragrances. I think the honey in this one is a very specific kind of smell of honey. So I think what it does it's well. It does what it does well. I think it's also, if you think about fragrances in a nerdy way, that you're trying to think of something cool that have a story, you could think of spirits as a drink, right? So you have like the wine element of this fragrance. And you could also think that there's no actual tobacco note, so maybe it's just the spirit of tobacco. So I guess that makes it kind of fun in a way. It's just not something I really wear very often. Again, I think it's very unique, the honey smell, the specific kind of honey smell. And I think it's got kind of a fun vibe. It's not like redundant to say other cliche honey tobacco fragrances, something like a Back to Black or a Pure Havana or something. It's its own thing. So is it worth the hype? If you think of it as a under the radar fragrance and it is kind of unique, I'm gonna give it a slight pass, right? Depending on how I feel. Even though it's not something I wear, and once my decant of it is gone, I probably would never buy it again. But considering it's really cheap when it came out, it has gone up in price. It was so popular. I'll give it a pass for the hype that it was getting. Now it's not getting as much hype, so maybe that's also well deserved because now it's just a good smelling fragrance. But when it was under the radar and getting hype, I think it was worth the hype because it is a underrated fragrance. Shall I claim? What do you think? That's my opinion on it. So I'm kind of in the middle there, right? Let's do another one. Amber Absolute. Okay, so the hype on this fragrance was you have some people saying that it's like unwearable, like, oh, it's awesome, but it's unwearable. and other people are just like, oh, it's just not that great and it's unwearable. So I guess I don't believe the hype for that because I think it actually smells really good, and I've worn it and I've gotten unsolicited compliments from it. I think the last time I wore it, and I did kind of like a blind taste testing. I just want to say taste testing, smell testing. I think 3 out of 5 girls liked it. So that's not too bad. And I should say though, that was more towards the beginning. And I will say once it's been in like the dry down, I don't think I've ever had anyone say they don't like it. I don't think. Like I said, I've actually, and I have gotten compliments on it. And I told the story too. I've had girls that are like, 20-year-old girls, whatever, they don't give a fuck if I'm wearing $500 fragrance or whatever, they just want something that smells good. So I guess it's not worth the negative press that it got because I have had people tell me they like it. I mean, I don't know. I think it's awesome too, right? Personally, right? So I guess if you're in the camp, the people that like it, it's good. I mean, in terms of the people that do say it's unwearable, I will agree the first couple hours of it are potentially a little out there. So I guess, take that for what it's worth. But once it gets going, and the scent trail of it is always fine too. So don't worry about the scent trail. It's just if I guess if you're about you sprayed it on right before you fucked your girlfriend or something, right? That may be depending on how that goes, maybe, right? But once it's been on, it's okay. Another one, Dior Sauvage. Although I'm not totally in love with it, I'm gonna give it a pass for the hype because I've had a ton of people tell me they like it. It's one of those fragrances that is so popular. Been wearing something else and people have been like, "Oh, is that Dior Sauvage? I love that." So it's popular when you're getting compliments right there, right? So I guess I'm gonna give it worth the hype that it's gotten because it does get a lot of compliments and I do hear people talk about it even when I'm not wearing it, you know. I've said this before, I think where it succeeds too, in a similar way to Oud Wood from Tom Ford, although they don't smell the same. It's got that sort of a bit of a stank to it, a bit of a kick, a bit of sex to it, but it still smells clean in a way, right? So it's got that contrasting element that I think makes it nice. I will say I don't care about the eau de parfum version, eau de perfume, whatever, dude. I don't care about that one, and I've never actually heard any. I don't think I've heard anyone actually say anything about it either. So no comment on that one, right? But I guess I'm not getting title pick anyway. The original Amen. Okay, so some people love this one. Some people hate this one. And I guess it's been reformulated and it's more wearable. I can't comment on that. I should probably try to wear it again at some point. I can only comment on the old one. The old one I think is definitely in the camp that thinks it just is. It's not good, right? I can tell you in all the years I've been in fragrances, there are very, very, very few people that I've heard that have actually liked it. Very few people. Um, I know the funniest story I have to tell about it is the original was so strong. I was wearing it one day and I woke up, must have been, the next day, the night at like 4 a.m. or something. And, my brother is a huge stoner. And I'm like, holy fuck, I can't believe my brother is baking fucking like brownies at like 4 in the morning. And I woke up, I was like so pissed. I was like, oh, wait, it's me. So the dry down's okay, right? The dry down's okay, but I guess it's not as powerful anymore. So maybe it's more wearable, which sucks for the people that like it too, right? Because the people that originally like it, they probably want it to be a powerhouse. But so does that mean I believe the hype? I believe the hype if you think it's not good, right? I don't know what it smells like now. I haven't smelled the reformulated one. Maybe it's better, right? The next one, Chocolate Greedy. This one usually gets hype as the best chocolate fragrance by a lot of people. I'm gonna say it's worth the hype in terms of awesome chocolate fragrance. I don't know if it's the best chocolate fragrance ever, and I definitely don't believe the hype that it is the most chocolatey fragrance ever, because I actually think the name is misleading in terms of being the most chocolatey fragrance ever. But just in terms of being an awesome smell, Chocolate Greedy is great. I do get compliments on it. It is interesting in that it is potentially a bit novelty-ish because it is so chocolatey, but I've never had girls say that this is a bad kind of chocolate. Like I know I've told stories that I've wore say Vanilla Absolute from Montal, which is not chocolate, but that has vanilla and woods, which can sometimes give a chocolate vibe. And I've worn that, and I have had girls say, you just smell like chocolate and it's too much, right? Let's say for chocolate greedy, they're like, wow, you smell like a amazing chocolate, right? So chocolate greedy, I don't think it's the most amazing. If you take the name literally, it might not be worth the hype, but in terms of just being a freaking awesome chocolate scent, and it is a lot of chocolate. It's freaking amazing. I think one of my favorite scents ever. Dua fragrances. I'm gonna be honest about all the hype they were getting. First of all, I've never smelled any of the clones, so boom, get that out of the way. Never smelled any of the clones. But the Mobster was getting a lot of hype for a while. I'm gonna say I don't believe the hype that it was getting in terms of the positive vibe, and I don't believe that the hype that it was getting in terms of negative. Like people were very black and white about it. I just thought it was okay. It smelled fine. The Mobster. I wasn't one of those people like some reviewers like they spread it like, oh my god, it's fucking filling the room. This is amazing. You know what I mean? And other people are like, oh my god, I hate the guys that make this blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Whatever. I just thought it smelled okay. It was a fragrance, right? I've had some people tell me they like it. The most negative comment I ever got on it was that I just smelled like cough syrup, which I can actually see that. I know I've given a review of what it smells like. I could see that potentially maybe it smells like a bit like a cherry cough syrup spilled on the piece of wood, tobacco and everything. Whatever, I've done a review on it, but I have had some people tell me they like it, so I guess it does fine, right? It's just not something I wear because something about it kind of puts me off. I don't know what it is exactly, but and it's really hard for me to wear fragrances that I'm just kind of like, it smells okay. It's hard for me to wear fragrances like that nowadays. Um, so yeah, I guess it's not worth the hype. I didn't believe it was worth the hype in terms of the positive, and I don't believe it's worth the hype in terms of the negative. It just smelled fine, I thought. I did like that Camp Do Felicity, which they don't sell anymore. I really like that one. That one is nice, and I liked that Noble Irish Cream. Kind of smells like a Bailey's, right? Gosh, I don't drink, so what the fuck is it called? But I've tasted it before, obviously, and I've smelled it, and it smells good. A Bailey's, Bailey's, right? That's a Bailey's, the coffee. See, now in this like Clayton, now you need to go drink. Now I need to go smell it or something. Anyway, so yeah, I do think that one smells good, but I guess it's never got hype. Herod has gotten a lot of hype in the community as a awesome tobacco fragrance, and I'm gonna be honest, I do think Herod is actually really awesome. I do like Herod a lot. I believe Herod is worth the hype. Um, I actually have gotten compliments on it as well. Not something I wear a lot, so I don't want to say it's a amazing compliment getter because I've never worn it that much, but I've gotten compliments on it, and I think it's awesome. So definitely one of my more favorite fragrances. So I'm gonna give Herod a pass on that. What else do we got? Xerjoff Neo. I don't get it. Pass. Get out of here, dude. Xerjoff Neo does not work for me. I'm not a big fan of fresh, clean scents though, so take that for what it's worth. But that's definitely something that I got around to smelling, years and years ago. I got a sample of it, wore it a few times. I don't get it, dude. Invictus. Invictus has gotten a lot of hype in terms of being a good compliment getter. I agree, it is. It's definitely something I've worn, and girls have been like, "Wow, what is that? I want to get this for my boyfriend." Whatever, they'll stop you. And I know it's funny because I've told this story again too. For Invictus, I remember when people were just hating Invictus because they didn't like the bottle. They thought it looked stupid, and I thought the bottle looked fine. It's kind of weird, silly, right? I remember I smelled it when I was traveling at duty free, and I actually thought about buying it. But whatever the case, yeah, I thought it's a fine smell, so I believe it's worth the hype. Again, I can't tell you if Invictus Aqua is worth the hype because it's actually not something I ever wore a lot of. Because I was always just like, you know what, if I'm gonna wear Invictus, I'm just gonna wear Invictus, right? So, alrighty, guys. So, that's it. Keeping my channel active fragrance wise. The end.